if it works. Okay. Sorry, kitty.
We're live now.
All right. Hang on. Just waiting for it to come up on my screen.
Yep. I gotta get my tree up a little higher.
Yep.
She's only 10. I keep forgetting which gifts she likes, but it's probably like the weapons and things that I'm always running out on.
How high is your companion?
She's only 10, that's what I said.
Oh, so who you bring tonight today?
She's only got Treek.
Oh, okay.
Because this girl hasn't leveled, so that's all she's got.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
What does she use?
I gotta look it up. I got notes everywhere. Gotta look at my... Okay, let's see. Treek is tech. That's why, because it's the same as Theron.
Right.
So I'll have to have a look and see if I've got any gifts to give Treek.
We'll pump this out to YouTube as well. So to anybody that is signed on that we can't yet see in chat, welcome. This is Matt playing my character Toombs. He's the first bounty hunter I created in SWTOR, coming up on 10 years ago.
It's still crazy to think it was that long ago.
Yep. And over there, Anaria's playing Kamiro Zarel, one of her bounty hunter characters.
One of my newer ones. So she's not as... Oh, I do have a tech gift. I'm just going to try and give a few gifts to my companion to get her up a little better just before we get started on the Tatooine Dailies.
So we're streaming live on Twitch now, and we'll pump this through to YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you won't see the chat, but we will read the chat that comes through. We've just watched episode 4, chapter 12 of Mandalorian on Disney Plus. An episode that was jam-packed with action and raised an awful lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool references and callbacks to earlier episodes and other original trilogy material.
Yeah.
And we've put spoiler warnings everywhere, so if you come into chat, feel free to tell us your thoughts about that episode.
Yeah.
What did you like? What did you spot that you found interesting?
It's a really good place in the series to kind of really dive into spoilers, because it's been slowly building up, but this episode introduces a little bit more information about some of the questions that even the first season gave us. So
yeah, it's a good episode to talk about in a group, because it asks a lot of questions as well as giving a few scant answers and progressing the story by a small amount. So conversation can be quite speculative at this point.
Yeah.
And in the background, we're going to play some classic SWTOR content with our bounty hunters, just to fill the time with some visuals.
Yeah.
So I'm traveling to Tatooine now.
Traveling? Okay, I am traveling also.
That episode was directed by Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Karga, in case you didn't spot that.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think he gave himself the opportunity to interact with Baby Yoda again. I'm sure he enjoyed that on a personal level.
Yeah.
I've seen him on Twitter. He really seemed to get a kick out of the scenes that he had in season 1 with the child puppet.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Waiuru 1972. Seemed a lot like the trench run from A New Hope on the chase through the Valley of Navarro. I was thinking the same thing.
Those high angles looking down on the trench.
Particularly with the TIE fighters that are coming in with their sort of Imperial troop transport-esque vehicle running through the bottom of the trenches. There were a lot of sort of callbacks to a certain couple of shots in particular. I noticed the speeder bikes, the close-up shot of the biker scout sort of pushing down on the pedal like an accelerator that felt straight out of Return of the Jedi.
And the cockpit shots on the TIE fighters, they look straight out of A New Hope. Because they're that low, they always use that low angle.
Yeah, shooting up at them. Yeah.
But it was nice to see them in the natural lighting, so you really got a...
Yeah, you could see the
a lot more definition and detail.
Yeah, the grey stripes on the helmet, you could see that a little bit more clearly.
And I've done it all the way along, but I always loved the way they use sort of retro user interfaces for all the targeting computers and so forth.
Yeah, I noticed they used, like, it was the ship-specific little icons on the sort of the targeting screens, so you could see the different types of ships they were targeting, which was kind of fun.
And of course, I can't get enough of those troop transports. It was really interesting seeing
like the sort of like a tank version of it, which is really quite fun.
I was almost hoping that troop transport version has gun emplacements along the side. It felt quite like a World War I German tank, and I almost thought we might get a homage to the Indiana Jones scene where he's hanging off the gun emplacement of a tank as it tries to squish him against the wall.
It was kind of close. It felt like a little bit of a reference, but in this one, because it's kind of reversed with the heroes in the tank and the villains, perceived villains, on the outside, that in this case we actually see them getting squished.
Yeah. I think, and speaking of trench run and so forth, I think that Imperial base, I think it was actually defended by gun emplacements that look very much like Death Star guns, the towers that we see in the New Hope.
Oh yeah, the reactor control felt very New Hope. Yeah. With the tiny little ridge sort of around the edge, and sort of callbacks to like the no railings and things like that. That was fun.
And the tank targeting system, just showing scout troop silhouettes, that sort of lo-fi version for the targeting user interface.
Wauru says even the scout trooper silhouette on the targeting system. That was fun. Yeah. It is really quite sort of, as you sort of get into it, it's really quite the treasure trove of little references.
Wow.
Like after every episode, there's like a breakdown on YouTube of all the references and the sort of little in jokes and things. I'm sort of I didn't personally recognize it, but I get the feeling that little sort of like weasel ferret type creature is probably a reference to something.
A meerkat, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably a reference to something, and it was really fun seeing the Pondababa species Aqualish at the start. Yeah, that was fun.
They're a cool choice for a slightly lower budget because I've never sort of had animated
faces. Yes.
So you can kind of get away with them, but they were more detailed, obviously, than the 1977 rubber masks. And I mean, it goes without saying that there's seemed minor hints, I have to admit, that there would be some sort of Star Destroyer-esque vehicle in there.
Oh, that shot was really good. The overhead
flyover.
Yeah.
That was inevitable.
I don't know if we knew if that ship was over Navarro or somewhere else.
I don't think we've had information specifically implying that would be what? How many people we've got for the...
No, Mr. Dunn. Yep, we're going to the next one.
I don't think we had any information implying that Moff Gideon, what his command ship was.
Yeah.
He sort of appeared. And big mystery about whatever we were seeing.
The
right
people, I assume they're like humanoids.
Robots.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're obviously doing biological experiments, if they're trying to get hold of force-sensitive blood for transfusions.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's exactly what we saw in the finale, or whether or not there's some sort of variant on the Dark Troopers from, which are experimental robotic stormtroopers from the earlier Battlefront games.
I was kind of hoping they'd give us like a little bit clearer of a look, but I know it's supposed to be a tease.
I might.
It might be,
because
blow
I'm
up
dead
the
curious.
images, and yeah.
There seem to be. I mean, I think it might be armor. There seem to be tubes that imply breathing tubes for the armor or something. So,
But yeah, I think that's like we hadn't really visited the concept of why they wanted the child.
not nearly dead. Just
So
for
this is like we're finally getting a little bit more information.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't going to be for particularly good reasons.
Yeah, and I was still seeing that original Imperial scientist, and yeah, we got a feeling for where things were heading when we saw inside the Imperial base additional people in Imperial scientists.
Yeah,
Sort of
a callback.
style.
Yes,
And they were
yes.
clearly trying to erase data that was
Yes.
highly sensitive and top secret, so we kind of saw that was suspicious once that scene started opening up.
Yeah. I like the pacing of this episode. Like it kind of, starts out being a little bit.
Hey, Food 5 standing by. Hey, Freddie, how's it going?
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. It's going really good.
Some blood was extracted from the child in season, but yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Not enough to do any. Well, not enough to.
Well, yeah, because he's a
compromise him in any way.
small. So in order to take a small amount of blood and without killing him, I suppose it would have been small.
I didn't quite pick up on it. I think he said. Scientists made reference to it being the highest M count, so I do wonder.
Yes, I wanted to
M count.
yeah, wasn't sure because it's like this, recovered file audio.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch that again and listen real closely, or watch it with
Freddie says awesome episode connecting the sequel and the original trilogy. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes, yeah. I liked the
go on.
actually sort of coming back to the concept of midichlorians and that. But with lots of, I still get excited seeing the rebel pilots in their orange jumpsuits.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's X-wings, you can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
Even just parked there on the not quite tarmac, but
yeah, just sort of being parked, not seeing them in flight, but just seeing that iconic costume. I mean, stormtroopers are always fun to see, and there were certainly a lot of stormtroopers in this episode, but me being a rebel girl, I'm just always excited to see them. And I like that little moment at the end with the pilot talking to Kara, getting a little bit more sort of, just a little few sort of glimpses into her backstory.
yeah.
And of course, being a big Leia fan, my heartstrings always get pulled when they talk about Alderaan. And I was
Moff Gideon did tease that in the final episode of the first season when he referred to as being Cara doing from Alderaan.
Yeah.
So that element of the backstory, but obviously she's pretty bitter at the Empire because I guess everyone should be.
Yeah, well, that moment where she crushes the biker scout, she kind of laughs. She takes delight at taking hits to the Empire.
No love lost there.
Yeah.
For some weird reason, I know biker scouts ride speeder bikes, but for some weird reason, I would have just loved to see a classic stormtrooper on a speeder bike.
Yeah.
That's the other main mission.
Yeah. There was that shot where the stormtroopers are getting into where the reactor controls were, that felt, and they were sort of shooting up and things like that, like at the Mando.
Oh yeah, that was totally a chasm swing.
Yeah. That felt
swing
like another
reference.
callback to those scenes.
As the reference to the absence of a guardrail.
Yeah.
Standard Imperial interior design philosophy there. No guardrails.
And it was kind of fun bringing back that the species escapes my recall. The blue guy from the first, bringing him back because he's kind of like a bit of a, comedic role in that episode.
So Freddie says I'm glad it wasn't a side mission breaking the pattern. Yeah, it was clearly.
Yeah. Progressing the arc.
It interrupted his passage to the planet that he was destined to go to, but it really
it wasn't important.
A lot of material.
Yeah, important
So
part of the story.
it implies this season isn't just going to be about delivering the baby to some other force sensitives
Yeah.
who they end up being. There's clearly a significant imperial menace taking place.
Makes me wonder the way that they're kind of teasing the New Republic more and more, whether we're going to see a bit of a sort of an all-out clash between the groups.
A bigger battle.
Yeah, between the Empire and you know the Mando sort of getting pulled into this conflict.
Yeah. Not just Mando versus Imps, but
Yeah.
Republic versus Imps.
Because he's kind of obviously chosen his side, sort of being
Against last one.
like against the what's that? Get the boss
Get
up the
this
top.
last one up here.
Yep, sure.
So there you go. Dr. Pershing was the
Yeah.
Imperial.
The one on the holocaust.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was recorded in season 1 or if they pulled him back. I wonder how much of the story they actually had
Yeah.
established that early on.
Yeah, whether they knew exactly where they were going to go with season 2 or... It does feel like they've got quite a good plan for the steps leading towards whatever they...
Just trying to think of all the details that popped up. It was really cool seeing the protocol droid working as a teacher.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I like
Teaching
those
the
scenes.
birds.
It was this
Yeah.
like sort of like a little light moment, like because the episode wasn't Baby Yoda heavy.
No.
They kind of had him on a side thing, and they're still playing on the joke of him, you know, eating everything in sight. The little it looked like macaroon cookies, but like if you'd made them with blue milk or something, which I thought was funny. And I know it's a silly little thing, but just the moment at the end where the Mando is like cleaning up Baby Yoda's sort of like throwing up because of the spinning, which in itself feels like a little bit of a callback to the prequels. You know, like spinning is a good joke. And then him being sick and using his cape to clean up Baby Yoda's chin. That was just kind of a funny moment.
All
the people that sort of ship him as a bit of a space dad will appreciate that moment.
Some, what do we got there? He says Moff getting putting a track on a Razor Crest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly he's not going to get away. So Moff Gideon's going to be in hot pursuit wherever he ends up going. So we're halfway through now, aren't we? 4 in, 4 to go.
Yep.
The episodes. So we have to really dial up that Moff Gideon threat, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because in the first season, like, we knew he had been cast as the role, and we sort of kept waiting for him to show up, and he sort of came in more in the episode, but yeah.
People are really digging him as the arch enemy, though, as the arch villain.
Yes.
He's got some charisma that really lets him pull that off.
Yeah. And his connection to sort of other Mandalorians and the fact that he has the Darksaber, and whether this show will explore how he got it. Because I think the last time we sort of saw it in Rebels, Bo-Katan had it. And she alluded to that in the previous episode, that there was something that she needs.
We talked about last week's episode as well, frankly. I mean, because they totally crazy. I mean, talking about last episode and Mandalorians taking off their helmets, it was kind of funny that they hung a lantern on the fact that the Mando had to sort of sit under his helmet.
Yes. And Baby Yoda's kind of like looks like he's like trying to see, because for an infant, he would probably like almost assume that the Mando's like doesn't have much of a face. Like, it looked like he was as curious to see the Mando's face as we are.
It was an interesting little bit of writing, because that's the sort of question on everybody's mind is, if they got to wear the helmet all the time, aren't they going to get a little bit hungry and thirsty all the time? Do they just have to keep on the door?
Yeah, because the times when he's like in the bar and stuff like that, and the other guy's like, want a drink, and you're like, how does that work? Can't really drink in front of people. But
Get a flashback to the purge. Flashbacks would be really cool. In general, exploring stuff that happened before.
Yeah,
season 1.
really sort of exploring Mandalorian sort of history a little bit. Now that they've established that happens. It's always fun to see just more of the Mandalorians. Like in the first season where we saw them all kind of jetpacking and sort of save the day and things like that, and seeing all the different varieties. It'd be fun to see some more of that in flashback form.
It was cool to see. I like those scenes with the B2 battle droids, the super battle droids.
Yeah.
Seeing Ben as an enemy last season.
It's kind of funny because you know that like we've seen them in live action and like the prequels, but somehow they felt like more real. Seeing them in the Mandalorian, I don't know why.
And I'm more pretty and close.
Yeah, rather than in sort of the big en masse, Geonosis type battle scenes and things like that.
And those opening scenes today were kind of knew where that was going. It was kind of an obvious joke with the baby trying to follow instructions, but
that was funny. And he's like, well, worth a try.
Good. I thought I could clearly see where it was going, but
yeah.
It was kind of fun. They didn't, like, almost overcooked it, but not too much.
Yeah. Trying to use him as almost like a little droid.
Yeah.
Getting into the tight spaces of the ship. But it was really fun seeing the sort of the capabilities of the Razor Crest, even though it was kind of like repaired but seeing it in battle.
Yeah, I started saying that earlier on. I really love the choreography of the flying. Those vertical stalls and throwing on the air brakes to reverse around. And all that
the way the little flaps sort of on the engines kicked out, for him to sort of turn around to do that drop. And just seeing his sort of blasters, turrets, firing.
Those cannons are brutal.
Yeah.
Although having said that, I guess it was inevitable. We had to get the Razor Crest back in fighting shape, but they did a pretty good job of polishing it up to full battle specs there. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all back to normal, and I liked that it was Mimbonese that were the technicians.
The spy.
That were doing the spy, but also just the technicians. Interesting because I guess, Mimbonese probably don't generally have a lot of love for the Empire, following the events of Solo.
Yes.
But it's a species I like to see. If we saw one in
I can't remember what it was.
We saw them in Solo. We saw them at the end in Emphas Nest's gang.
Spacebar? Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I like the Minban story, even though they've fully reinterpreted that species. But I like it because it harks back to Splinter of the Mind's Eye in 1978.
I like the sort of the balance of species in the Mandalorian. Like they introduce a few new species that we haven't seen before, but then they sort of pull in ones like in the last episode, like seeing Gamorreans, and then there was like the beasts that we couldn't quite see in the dark, and.
We're gonna go
Huh? Oh, go to the next one, yeah. And Moncal and
Moncal last week.
Yeah, just sort of like a good sort of balance of like familiar and then new.
Hilarious. Those cabinet sweaters were in the 70s. I guess that's kind of where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, giving it a vintage look.
But
for
I didn't buy it as an Amazon product. It's a very similar one on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mandalorian last week, and the Koran for that matter, and last week was cool.
So of course we have to wonder whether we'll see Bo-Katan again.
I got a strong feeling.
I'm hoping we do, because I feel like I kind of hope that they're not setting the seeds up for the third season. Like, I know that there probably will be, because the show's been so successful, I can't imagine them wrapping it up after 2 seasons.
No, third season's all sort of in pre-production at
But
this
like,
point.
how much are they going to drip feed us out from this season to sort of drag on to the next season? Like, like,
Yeah.
I know that it makes sense to keep some secrets and some sort of side stories in the pocket for another season, but at the same time, you just sort of want all the neat reveals and all your questions answered, and like that end reveal of whatever Moff Gideon's working on. Oh man, I know it's going to be probably like at least another episode or so before we get a bit more information about that, but that was such a good tease.
That's a whole story arc, as well as the whole search for Ahsoka story arc.
I feel men slaughtering these Jawas. My girl is light side. I usually run this on a dark side tune while they slaughter all the Jawas.
Just go through the game mechanics,
Yeah. That's it. We're done these ones.
What's that? Yeah. Okay, got those beams.
Yep.
How's your new adoptee? Yeah, Freddie's got a baby Yoda as well.
Yes. The child.
It's pretty cool.
I keep expecting it to blink or like move or something. It's so eerie when it's sitting there. Like, you're seeing it looks so much like what it does on the show. It really is quite impressive.
It was a surprisingly reasonable price, all things considered.
Yes,
but
yeah.
They did manage to keep the price. You can see in the construction, they keep the price down. I mean, the beauty in it is just the
it was almost painful watching Adam Savage cut his open to modify the arms, and I'm like, he doesn't really have too many poses.
Crew have upgraded a few of those slideshow stitches. They've put armatures in, so he's fully articulated, and he was weathering up the cloak and stuff with an airbrush. That's on his tested channel, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he totally cuts it apart, so it's quite interesting to see
the insides. Yeah.
Underneath, it's just you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
hollow vinyl, just a one-piece cast for the body, and the head looks like it's separate.
But yeah, it definitely puts most of the other replicas to shame.
Yeah. So did you watch the Adam Savage's stuff reading?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, I just knowing how like it felt like not as bad, but when the Star Wars show blew up the sail barge, it's like, as a collector, it just hurts sometimes. Like, at least he wasn't destroying it, he was upgrading it, but
yeah, wow.
You got a brave person to to cut him up like that. But yeah, like, it came out like a bit before the Hot Toys version was announced, and I was like, ooh, Hot Toys usually does things really well, you know, which one's going to be better. But then seeing the Hot Toys version has seams around the ears so that you can swap them in and out, I'm like, that just ruined it for me.
Freddie was watching Baby Yoda vivisection over breakfast, he says. Check out the Welding Geek, he did something similar. Okay, we'll look that up.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, so the Hot Toys one's articulated and it's a shade more expensive, but it does have visible seams for some of those articulations. Mind you, that new, I assume it's Hasbro, I couldn't remember if check that new
the electronic one
that we saw in the store, the eyelids on it. Really,
yes, they were really good. Like, usually that sort of thing, you can sort of see them even when they're supposed to be like eyes open. You can still see the eyelids, but
obviously under scale. But that was like about $80, $85 or something, wasn't it?
110, I think.
What was that?
Yeah, the one that doesn't move is like 70. Yeah.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, covered most of the points from this week's episode, but talking about last week's episode, we knew that Katie Sackhoff was going to be in it. She'd even that day made reference to Yay Fighters finally here, sort of thing. So kind of had a strong feeling she was going to show up. But it still blew my mind when we saw Bo-Katan armored, and then the strong implications she was going to remove her helmet, and yeah, Katie Sackhoff totally looked the part.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. Obviously, the perfect person to play that character, having done the voice, but
Yeah.
since that it's really got a really cool rendition of the animated character as a live action version.
Yeah. Obviously, well, at the time when they did Clone Wars, I don't think they could have ever anticipated that she would sometime in the future be a live action character. So they didn't necessarily have to make the animated character look like Katie Sackhoff. You know, most people don't get the honor of sort of having their likeness being used for an animated character that they happen to voice. But in that case, yeah, they just did such a good job. Katie Sackhoff was talking about sort of how much the character meant to her, having played her over such a long period of time, and things like wanting to get her hair and her scar right and everything like that. You could see that she was quite invested in being an accurate representation of the character as well.
Yeah, she was talking about the eyebrow angles and all sorts.
Yeah, it
What
was.
was that interview?
Yeah, on one of the YouTube, like it was like Entertainment Weekly or something like that, where she'd done.
It might have been Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah. Oh, the lockbox is there. I'm just gonna grab that.
Really, just talking about the pinkness on the Baby Yoda statue, pinkness on the face. Yeah, shows up under natural daylight and fairly strongly, but yeah, I'm not too fussed about it either. It's having that sort of break in the texture just from that flat green is necessary, and I don't.
No, it photographs really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it gives it a bit of distinction from the sort of more plasticky toys that don't have quite the same level of detail.
Yeah.
The hair is crazy on it. Like you know, you worry that it's going to look like sort of doll hair with punched holes or something like that, but the hair is both fine and weirdly robust.
Yeah.
It sort of, you can sort of touch it and you don't feel like you're going to like randomly pull hair out. But it still looks really fine and not thick like Barbie hair or something.
Getting back to the episode just screen where he's talking about the black figures at the end. I'm off the ship.
I guess that
was really interesting. There was quite a lot there, and quite a lot being set up.
There's quite a lot of like previous.
I think there's a pattern of
like lots of old expanded universe sort of playing with the concepts of, you know, force sensitivity and stuff like that, but to actually see them kind of bring in a concept like that into the Mandalorian, and that's why the Empire wants the child. Because if they're sort of classing his species as high force sensitive, and a species that lasts a long time, you know, Yoda 900 years and all, then he would be the sort of the perfect choice for a subject to draw blood off for continued experiments.
Yeah, I'm really split as to whether they were droids or genetic biological experiments. I mean, they were obviously just standing there doing nothing, whether that's some sort of suspended animation or whether or not they're just not doing
the sort of the biotubes that they were looking at, they didn't give you an exact clear view of what was sort of in the sort of the tanks. It kind of looked vaguely like there were bodies in it, and they seemed and they seemed to be a bit sort of taken aback by what they were looking at, but the camera never quite gave you a look.
But
you didn't know whether it was whether they were just like, we're not going to show it completely, but you get the idea.
The way the story's panning out, I don't think we're going to get. I think they're going to tease things and then throw another episode in before we start to get answers. So we're going to sort of alternate between the two main storylines that have been set up, and not get answers next week about what those black figures are.
Yeah.
But we may get answers about how long we have to wait before we see Ahsoka.
Yes, I know. That's a big question on everyone's mind now that, like the rumors have been swirling for a long time. With the casting and whether she's going to show up and all that, and of course, when and or if are we going to see Tamura Morrison?
Oh yeah.
Like that reveal was just like amazing, and I'm like, yeah, I hope that wasn't just like a little bit of a tease just for the fans to go, yep, he's still alive, don't worry. Like, his armor was rattling around in the desert all this time, but he's still alive. I'm like, I want to see him come back in and like do something more than just that one shot. Like, I know he's not like technically Mandalorian, but
based on the current status from a few hearsay comments, basically from the Clone Wars era, it's fairly lightweight and probably fairly easy to override if it really chose it. But I mean, at the moment, I agree. It's technically not Mandalorian based on everything we know so far. But they have.
But he's still so closely connected to what all the fans know of Mandalorians.
The Disney Story Group have tweaked some elements of history just a little bit along the way by using this story was told by a imperfect narrator or an unreliable narrator. That sort of approach if things don't perfectly match up.
So
Freddie's making reference to either Gold Member or
Figure in the Tank reminded me of a certain gold slippered character.
Well, that other dude was his name, Snoke.
Yeah. Yeah, it sort of felt like are we seeing sort of the precursor technologies that would eventually lead to the sort of the creation of the character of Snoke?
Some sort of implication about the technology, yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously...
that would be insanely huge if this was the start of dark-sided cloning technology of some sort. That would just be insanely huge if they expanded on that. And that would be an epic connection to the sequels too.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of any of the other sort of interesting moments and things like that.
Well,
I thought the school scenes were kind of cute.
Yeah, that kept the child involved enough in the story.
Yeah.
Without
it's obviously got to be a little bit tricky because you've got this essentially helpless character. But then they've got to keep putting Mando into like peril. So you've got to like figure out what to do with Baby Yoda half the time.
So in the last couple of weeks we've seen some good shots of some of the upcoming Black Series Mandalorian figures, including the Moff Gideon, the Creel, and the Greek Karga, all from Season 1. It's going to be quite
they have to make figures of Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
They have to.
Bo-Katan, who knows, at this rate we might even get...
What, one of the other Mandos? With her, the
Yeah. Sasha Banks played the other female Mandalorian, I think. But I'm liking the fact that they're doing all the main characters as Black Series figures in a fairly predictable and reliable way now. Totally love I know there's some pretty cool custom versions out there, but an official 6-inch scale blurg from
Yes. There needs to be more blurgs in the merchandise. I think there's only the Funko one at present.
Oh, and I think there's a Cos Baby or something.
Yeah.
No, maybe that. No, there might only be a Banter. Just more recently, I might be misremembering that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Funko, that might be the only representation of the
Yeah. Like Black Series, 4-inch, 12-inch. There needs to be more beasts in like the classic action figure line. Like seeing all the banthas in that first one. I'm like, I still love my classic old, what was it, 90s era bantha for the 4-inch. It feels like it was that long ago. I feel like they need to, like, even if they just reissued the exact same one, so you can make a herd of them. I just got my one. I bought all those years ago, and I'm like, they need to make more. Like even an updated one would be cool, because we see more detail of banthas in this version, like really close up detail on the faces and everything.
Yep.
Yes, Freddie says, and a 6-inch bantha. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that'd be a bit
I just like put them on bookshelves all around the house because they would just be so cool. They're still one of my favorite classic Star Wars creatures. So yeah.
Okay, let's go.
I'm all for.
Climate.
What's that? Hoth?
Let's go to a different climate.
Yep. Just gotta go outside the door, and then I'll meet you on Hoth. Freddie says mine needs a shampoo.
Really? You're old up Power Force 2 one?
Yeah. That's the problem with some of the fair toys and things like that. Like, you can't touch them much. They've done a few bantha like plush toys over the years, but they've always kind of been targeted for kids, not really adult collectors as much. They do need to do more creatures, I think. Like a Rancor in like Black Series would be like the coolest. I still love my old classic Rancor. I want to get the never managed to pick up the Force Unleashed one.
Yeah, that was a different sculpt. I think it was a shade back then.
Yeah.
It's getting a little hard to keep track of some of the Baby Yoda merchandise out there, though.
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot.
Everything.
Yeah, I think the Funkos are going crazy with like every little. There's Baby Yoda with his hands up, Baby Yoda with a soup bowl. There's like a ton of them. There must be demand.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the Funko's probably doing okay, but there's the whole issue of everyone knows what they're producing, but they're not really necessarily taking into account the extent that other companies are producing, competing. You know, Baby Yoda product that's competing for everyone's dollars at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a surprising number of those Black Series Baby Yodas on the shelves in New Zealand.
Oh, everywhere, yeah.
At the moment.
Fred says, recently acquired some Mandalorian Christmas tree ornaments from EB Games. I'll post pics later.
Yeah, quite cool. They're made by Numbskull, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you get all of them?
The sculpted, we picked up the sculpted Mando helmet and the sculpted Baby Yoda in his carriage. And they're quite good. I particularly liked buying them in person. The weathering on the Mando helmet is done sort of, I guess, variably, so some looked a little better than others, but on the whole, it was a pretty cool sculpt for a reasonable price. Certainly a lot more affordable than as beautiful as the Hallmark ornaments are. They've really gotten a bit expensive in recent years and a lot harder to find in New Zealand, so it was nice having something a bit more affordable, but still a good sculpt.
When's your Star Wars Christmas tree going up, Freddie? Have you got many other decorations from previous years?
Haven't picked up as many for a while there. It was a fairly consistent thing to be able to find the Hallmark ornaments in New Zealand, even if they were a little highly priced. Every now and again, I managed to find one like after Christmas, so you could get them on good sales. But they just kind of seem to disappear. I haven't found one at Briscoe's for a long time, which is a
In
shame.
the last few years, we've just bought the chippies from the warehouse.
Yeah.
$2 a
The little
pop.
baubles, yeah. Sadly, none this year. I would have thought, sure enough, they'll be putting Baby Yoda and Mando merch out in the Christmas lines.
Yep, no,
It's kind of
no
sad to
Star
see
Wars
that's
Baby
not there.
Yoda.
No.
They've just stuck with Avengers and Frozen.
Yeah, I thought surely they'll be hooking in kids wanting Baby Yoda chocolate or something. Because the final episode of the season, I think, screens just before Christmas.
Yeah.
So you've got like the series 2 playing all the lead up to Christmas. It's going to be way more in the forefront of people's minds than Frozen 2. It seems like an odd choice. So what was... I think it would be fun if we... I mean, it might be a little too close, but it would be kind of fun if they did like a vehicle of that new sort of troop transport variant.
Well, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I went crazy when the Rebels one showed up.
Yeah. It plays into that fun references, whether they're from the movies or not. I almost have to wonder, I guess it would be a bit too cheeky to include any kind of Life Day reference in The Mandalorian, considering that's kind of, credited as the origin of sort of Boba Fett in those animated series, because they put the rifle in there. That's probably like the closest we might get to acknowledging Life Day in a full canon way.
Have you spotted a good source for the Hallmark Death Star food?
Oh, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah, the white one feels.
Yeah, got a couple. We got a couple of the electronic ones, and they are really good.
So next week, no, it's not December. Next week, is it? We're only the 20th.
No.
I think we'll set a tree up with some
Yeah.
decorations. I'm sure we can start up a few Christmas decoration threads in the SWTOR Facebook group. See what else.
Yeah.
Come up with.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of fans around New Zealand that have collected Star Wars Christmas tree ornaments over the years or made their own. There was a series of candy heads at the warehouse that seemed to linger around for ages, and I thought they would be fun to turn into Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, a nice Stormtrooper and Darth Vader for the price. Yeah, there's a bit of a body count for the Stormtroopers in Chapter 12.
Yes.
All at heights.
I didn't actually keep track of how many appeared to die, counting TIE pilots
survive?
and biker scouts.
I mean, did anyone survive?
Oh, and even Imperial officers and Imperial scientists. It was a bit of an Imperial massacre this week.
All the TIE pilots. The TIEs look like they're only escapees initially, and then they all...
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess they were implying that the rest of the people in that base died when the reactor kind of exploded with all the lava.
Yeah.
That gave me sort of flashbacks to Starkiller Base. With the sort of the internal explosions, sort of, and a little bit of Mustafar. Good old Mustafar. It was kind of fun seeing Navarro, the scenes when he landed there. It felt a lot lighter and brighter,
Yeah.
which is kind of fun to see.
Yeah, the hot
It
one.
wasn't quite as sort of grimy as when we sort of first see it in the first season.
Bounty Hunting Guild seems to be a little
Yeah.
shut down.
And it was a fun sort of reference like Cara Dune as the Marshal, sort of referencing, this kind of position that's being sort of created to give some sort of law and order system to these outer rim towns like the Old West.
So quite a bit must have gone on there, because didn't she say at the end of season 1 that she wasn't interested
Yeah.
in joining the guild, if I remember correctly at least? But she's obviously been put into another position by Greg Cargo with a different goal in mind.
I was a little curious about the little readable medallion that the pilot gave her.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, like, whether it was just like a little symbol or a medal or some sort of beacon to contact. It was pretty. I think it'd be fun if somebody made that as a replica.
Wow.
I want one. So, at the end of the first season, we lost a few sort of beloved characters,
IG-11.
like IG-11 and Quill, which makes me wonder if they'll go the same route for this season as well, that we'll see some of these recurring characters sort of meet their demise.
Yeah, it's always possible. No one's been fully called back in quite the same integral way as Creel yet. Everyone's just had a bit of a one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some signifier of the previous position, the previous role.
Yeah, Freddie says like a sheriff-like badge. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it just a little while ago. I do like the idea that we'll see a few more of the Republic pilots, or Republic in general, just having a presence, trying to restore order around the place and coming up against the Imperial Remnant and so forth.
I think the X-Wing pilots and the one prison guard is like the main Republic presence that we've seen, because I guess most of the story is taking place in the Outer Rim, that they've just got a few members sort of patrolling, but we've seen like a lot of variations of the Imperials, so it makes me wonder whether we'll eventually see some more Rebel, New Republic, not Rebel Alliance, but like some more variations. Because obviously the X-Wing pilots are using the same costumes, so I feel like, you know, whether we will see anything else that's familiar from the original trilogy in terms of the Republic.
I didn't pay quite enough attention, but that orange flight suit, that didn't actually, I could be wrong here, I could be misremembering. It didn't look like Rogue One surplus. It looked more like the fan built ones. The weathering on the
Yeah.
The weathering on the flak jacket was very well done. It was on the white vest. But yeah, we could see other variants on the pilots, and I'd love to. I love the X-Wings, but I'd love to see other Republic ships. Rebel Alliance ships showing up and being used. See, they're actually doing a little bit of an expansion for squadrons with the B-Wing and the TIE variant.
Yeah.
I can actually spot the date on that, but we'll have to get back and stream some of that.
Yeah. Been just enjoying the sort of Mandalorian themed content in SWTOR. Like these new Mudhorn mounts. They're a lot of fun. Had to have a Mudhorn for my Mandalorian girl.
Yeah, well, Star Wars: The Old Republic, it's got a bit of a habit of, they don't use direct assets because it's obviously set thousands of years prior, but they do have a bit of a habit of making use of whatever the hot property is at the time and doing something that references it.
Because you've got the new Mandalorian helmet on, don't you?
On the sky, the helmet, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a cool helmet.
From that armor.
Yeah.
Those are the outfits I'm using at the moment. The next flashpoint that's on
Ooh,
the
yes.
public test server is Mandalorian themed, Mandalorian culture themed.
Oh, I do hope we get to see the armorer again.
You mean
in the series?
actual,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, she is like the last sort of remaining person from that covert.
Was a cool character.
Yeah. Certainly popular with the fans, and I do have to wonder,
What's that?
once, like, the whole quest of season 2 is to return Baby Yoda to his kind. So, like, what's going to happen after that? Are they going to bring
Yeah.
in more Mandalorians to sort of, you know, fill in his quest to sort of find more of his kind?
Yeah, is the entire Mandalorian arc gonna involve Baby Yoda, or we're just gonna see them move past that into something completely different at some
Yeah.
point? I don't mind if they do move on to something else at some point. I mean, the story arc will probably rest in at some point to some degree. Obviously, there's plenty of other stories they can tell. I think the Moff Gideon Imperial Remnant story arc's pretty compelling, pretty engaging.
Yeah. And I think the, like, certainly that shot of, like, stormtrooper helmets on the pikes and stuff like that, like, knowing that the stormtroopers are running around is like a big draw card. Fred says, I'm hoping we see Luke, even if they have to DH Mark Hamill somehow.
Oh.
That would be, yeah, interesting if they pulled in, like, often
Any
the
other key
go-to
characters.
often the go-to character for sort of like a link to original trilogy is having Vader turn up somehow, like in video games or like in Rogue One and stuff like that. But I don't, like, because we can't, Vader's, you know, gone at this time point, but whether we bring in some rebel heroes, that would be interesting, because he's certainly alive and quite capable of giving his consent to be sort
Who's
of
that?
like Mark, like to be de-aged.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that would be interesting, particularly since you don't really know what he's been doing sort of like exactly straight after Return of the Jedi. That would be interesting. Because all the...
Not my current canon, no.
No. Like, I feel like they've probably got at least one or two sort of big surprises up their sleeve, something that we haven't sort of considered yet about where the story will go this
Yeah.
like the whole Darksaber thing was like, whoa, you know, and there were a few other sort of surprises in that first season. I feel like they've probably...
And there's a million rumours floating around about what other series might be in development, most coming from pretty lightweight sources. And just about any idea could have been floated somewhere at Disney.
Yeah.
Vaguely possible. It doesn't mean anything's going to eventuate. It does seem to be a bit more of a trend, or at least a acceptance of doing limited run series.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could see characters or story arcs spinning off from this.
Yeah, particularly since this has
I hate
obviously
that idea.
been such a commercial success for Disney. And with the shape of things, streaming being a very attractive avenue rather than tentpole movies. I'm sure they're really looking at how they can capitalize on the Star Wars universe now that they've discovered the formula works.
Yeah,
and can obviously be done for a reasonable budget.
Yeah, it's fine with me if series are finite. I don't mind the fact that Kenobi's going to just be a short run. So it's not tied.
Because thinking back to when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, I don't think TV series was necessarily in the list. Like, they were just like, yeah, we're going to be making more movies. And then it's been a significant part now of the lineup of new Star Wars content, considering we've got Mandalorian, Kenobi, and the Cassian Andor series.
Yeah. And even if they do just run for 6 or 8 episodes, I just think of them as, at some point...
It's just a movie done in segments. Yeah. I
haven't quite sat down and watched all of a single episode of a single season of The Mandalorian yet, but...
in one go.
Yeah.
We have watched... There were a couple of episodes where we watched them 2 or 3 times in a row. Particularly the ones with IG-11 in them. That, and those first episodes were just sort of so much to absorb all at once. We often go back and watch them again within 24 hours just to kind of capture, because there's so many, you know that the showrunners love putting lots of Easter egg references in the backgrounds, and sometimes there's details that we just didn't see the first time around.
Yeah, well,
because you're trying to absorb everything.
That last episode, we rushed it here to talk about it, but I totally want to go back and watch that again. There was a lot going on. We were moving between different venues. There's a lot of background stuff. Someone needs to mesh them all together and make a super cut,
Yeah.
Yeah, because Disney Plus doesn't quite do the Netflix thing of letting you...
it doesn't cut the credits off quite as abruptly.
Yeah.
Netflix is we know you don't want to watch the credits, let's get on with it. And Disney kind of lets you sit through a little bit more of the credits, Like what they did with the micro series. They were released episodically, but on the DVD they just play continuously. There's no stops for the credits. It's edited like a long movie, which is
seamlessly.
And it looks like that they won't be releasing these on DVD. So it'd be interesting to see. Disney Plus. The recent numbers were, I think they just announced hitting 74 million subscribers, which is pretty good numbers, considering it's just on a year, or...
I can't remember the exact details, but they did something they hit their 3-year target in 6 months or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but...
which bodes well for Star Wars. The better Disney Plus does, the more Star Wars content we're likely to see. Because, it'll be interesting to see how well the WandaVision does, which comes out in January. That's the first Marvel sort of live-action series.
Yeah.
See whether they can replicate the same success with that franchise. But the Mandalorian episodes definitely give that I want to watch it again straight away feeling. There's always a few moments that sort of make me gasp or get excited.
I'm coming, yeah.
And they can just be silly things, just seeing creatures like monkey lizards or.
I like Carl Weathers, his character. I like
Yeah.
something about his voice.
Oh, the way that he like grabbed
He's really
Baby Yoda
creative,
and
fun
carried him
character.
in was fun. He wanted to like carry him all the way back
In
to
the first season, he kept saying, "Hey, Mando." I kept hearing him say, "Hey, man."
Yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, he just calls him Mando. Do you have to wonder now that Moff Gideon's got the tracking on the Razor Crest?
Yeah. Hang on, I've just my voice full. Yeah, like,
Whether we'll see like Mandalorian having to sort of like gather up forces to fight the Empire, because even though the Empire's been defeated, air quotes, there's still quite a lot of troops. So I'm kind of expecting there to be not an exact repeat, but something similar to this sort of that end siege of like season 1, where they're sort of completely cornered by all the, and it's still fun seeing TIE fighters do the wings where they like stretch out. I don't know what you call it, where they're like
the folding wings.
Yes, folding wings, that's right. I was like, do that thing. Yeah. I don't think they've done an action figure toy that can do that.
Nah.
So I feel like I need one on a shelf now that's got its wings folded in.
I don't know how to get down.
I mean, I just need like just about every like character, vehicle in the 4-inch line. I do hope they release more. The Black Series is fun, but it's a lot more costly to crew all the characters.
It's a really interesting development that Wonder Woman's taking that route of simultaneous streaming and
yes,
release as well. Obviously, coronavirus has accelerated that move. It's hard to know if we may eventually got there at some point, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Letting people consume the content in whatever way they actually prefer.
I mean, I'll always enjoy seeing Star Wars, anything Star Wars on the big screen. There'll always be that kind of home, watching the big spectacle. But at the same time, it's fun watching it at home, where you can just watch it again straight away in the comfort of your own home, with no distractions.
Yep, exactly. That is the exact timing that you want to
And like,
watch it.
there's that sort of etiquette in a theater of being quiet, but at the same time, when we're watching Star Wars, we're like gasping and going, "Oh my gosh, did you see that? Oh look, there's that thing over there!" And the sort of excitedness. Trying to recall everything you see in like a 2.5-hour movie on the ride home, when you're like trying to remember all the cool things you saw.
Oh, look, every movie we've watched, sort of sci-fi or big, movie that's designed for a bigger screen. You just have to watch it again to see all the smaller detail. But at-home screens are generally big enough for that these days.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe watching VHS on 21 to 29 inch screens in there all days though.
Yeah.
I mean, VHS resolution is just potato resolution these days. it's
Potato.
I mean, how do we work out what anything actually looked like in terms of questioning what making?
I know. The detail. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about the equivalent of 240p or whatever, isn't it? CRT resolution.
Yeah.
Broadcast resolution. It's minuscule.
Yeah. At first I thought I was going to be, like, annoyed at the once a week release cadence
Yeah.
of being able to sort of binge watch shows like Stranger Things and things like that. Like, you know, it's almost a race to get through it all, and I know that that's not as fun for people that have jobs or schedules that don't really allow for, you know, like an
Watching.
8 to 10 hour binge sessions in the middle of the night. But I do feel like that sort of good balance of satisfied but wanting more at the end of each Mandalorian episode.
It
You
does
feel
give
like
people
it,
just a chance to breathe and talk about it as it unfolds.
like even the episode with the crate dragon, like it wasn't progressing the major storyline, but it's still, there was enough fun moments for Star Wars fans, and just a few teasers to sort of feel like it was a fun episode. I'm the sort of person that tries not to guess where an episode is going, so I wasn't expecting the crate dragon at all. I think it was a really fun, and
I
the
don't think I
little,
was.
what's that?
Yeah, I don't think I was immediately.
I guess I was kind of expecting more of like a gang or something like that he was going to have to fight.
Where he was talking about the concept art we see in the credits of every Mandalorian. Yeah, I mean, all those
Yeah.
paintings are fantastic. There's Titan magazines have an art of season 1 coming out in a week or two, and then there's a bigger hardcover proper art of Mandalorian season 1 due in a little bit, which will be pretty awesome and probably have most of that material. If we had a bit more wall space, I'm sure we'd
Yeah.
have a few more of those.
Mandalorian wallpaper.
At the moment, we're just using a bunch of them as screensavers on our TV.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah, every time we turn on our TV, there's just like Mandalorian wallpapers.
just rotating.
This is the way.
No, I think all of those painted artworks are cool. I don't think there's any duds amongst them. I do like the IG-11 and Mandalorian one. There's so much action and dynamism in the painting style. I really feel like something's happening.
They remind me of those kind of like motion comics
Yeah.
where there's like just that little bit of movement in a comic frame and videos and things like that. It almost looks like it's moving. Like it's just slowly animated.
Tusken Raiders are the native American category. I think it was a really cool development.
Yeah, it was interesting, sort of.
Seeing a bit of that culture.
Yeah, the sort of sign language with sort of simple sort of dialogue as well.
Even way back to the 70s, I've wanted to see more of both Tusken Raiders and Sand People. But Tusken Raiders and Jawas and how they lived out. I loved.
Yeah, and they included both in this series. We've seen more of the Jawas, albeit slightly more aggressive Jawas that were attacking him.
Yeah, and there was the one scene in Revenge of the Sith with the Sandcrawlers, but hang on, I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry, I just got troubled.
We're at, because we don't get the same drop rate in this one.
No, sorry, I'm already gone.
I'll finish off. I'll join you in a second.
Okay, I'll sort out my inventory.
The old Macquarie art, of the Jawa Sandcrawler open at the front with a sort of Jawa swap meet.
Yeah.
Always made me want to see more of the Jawas and the Tusken Raiders. And the Tusken Raiders are still the ultimate, sort of mystery. Well, both instances really. What do they look like underneath their cloaks, underneath their fabrics? Are they how they're human.
I was kind of hoping we'd see them like eat. You know, like they offered him that funny sort of fruit tea thing, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I was like, how do they drink it? It's sort of the Mando conundrum.
And it's interesting that they've sort of established that Jawas travel. They actually made reference to it in the Lego Holiday Special. They talked about off-world Jawas specifically,
Yes,
and they
yes.
had off-world Jawas
With the red eyes.
Tatooine
Jawas, yeah.
and a lighter cloak, and the Tatooine Jawas side by side.
Yeah, that was fun.
But at least in Legends lore, Tusken Raiders never leave Tatooine. Yeah. So, there one or two instances where a Tusken Raiders, more than one instance where a Tusken Raider's shown up off-world, but it transpires that it's not actually a Tusken Raider. So just clearing up this mob and all.
Yep, my bay was nearly full, so I'm doing a bit of cleaning.
The first episode where we had all the Tusken Raiders, I thought it was quite cool how Cobb Vanth was initially pretty anti-Tuskens and suspicious of them, but there was that incident back in the village where the Tusken Raider dropped him and he was defending him it's just an accident, chill out dude sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you wish we never got to see Mando without his helmet in season 1? I felt like he'd lost a bit of mystique. Yeah, he did lose a little bit, but I thought it was kind of well done.
I felt like it gave sometimes, characters can get really famous, but then the actor that brings them to life tends to get a little bit lost, particularly for characters where their faces are hidden. So I felt like it sort of like, gave Pedro Pascal a bit of a moment to actually.
Tell you what, I actually think it advanced IG-11's character as much as anything.
Yeah. Like, I know he was like a droid and stuff like that, but at the same time, like it was a really good story arc for him. But I do kind of want to see like an IG droid again.
Yeah. In terms of removing his helmet, I think what they showed in this episode, how does he drink without removing his helmet? I think it's necessary for believability, because the practicalities of never removing a helmet are just daft. It's straight up implausible. I mean, as it is, it's probably going to do murder on your skin. So they got to show how do you live a life with minimally removing your helmet.
Yeah, without using straws.
Yes, they got to just give it a couple of those little concessions to make it believable, I think.
Yeah.
I felt that they leaning towards Pedro not having a helmet eventually. Yeah, that could be interesting. If he sort of comes to understand the. He's only he was brought up by a very specific sub-tribe of Mandalorians,
which has been
set of beliefs.
His clan's been like largely wiped out. So if he joins up with other Mandalorians, I guess at some point he might find that he doesn't need to stick to those ideals.
Yeah. IG-11 became legendary. Those arm joints and rotating head all make sense
Oh
now.
yeah.
That first episode was
We
IG-11
watched that
was,
so many times in a row.
absolute machine. That was so cleverly choreographed,
Yeah.
I reckon.
Because, for a character that you never see move, it's supposed to be up there with sort of like, Boba Fett tier of, bounty hunting. You're sort of like, okay, so how is this, very stiff droid sort of lethal?
Yeah,
It was really fun to
machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that targeting, I mean, that sort of robotic targeting, it's always, I mean, Han Solo did it in
Force Awakens, yeah.
Look away as you shoot.
Yeah,
But,
shoot off to the
Robocop
side without even looking kind of cool.
Robocop did it first, with the sort of targeting the room full of drug manufacturers and then picking them off once the targets have all been acquired. But you got that vibe from IG-11, just massive targeting power, computing power,
Yeah.
extremely versatile targeting limbs. It was awesome, and it's so cool that it was Taika
Oh, yeah.
responsible for the character.
Just the right sort of person to pull off some of that humour.
So Taika's not involved in this season, unfortunately. He's too busy with other things, I believe, so he's not going to direct an episode.
Thor, I think.
Yeah. I totally want to find out what he's got up his sleeve for his next Star Wars project.
Yeah.
And man, Taika's got a huge reputation for involving Kiwis and Kiwi celebrities and
Yeah.
his projects and people that he's worked with and people that he's enjoyed working with. He's got a lot of loyalty for people that he respects from New Zealand. It's entirely plausible that we might even see a little bit of location scouting or location use
Fingers
down
crossed.
this way.
Fred says, do you think Boba has been tracking Mando also? He's been travelling sublight for a while.
Yeah.
It's definitely something, eh? So he was definitely
Just for the
definitely
armor,
watching.
for something else.
Yeah.
Does he know about him? Does he want to? Do they have a backstory?
Yeah. We don't really know how he feels about everything, because we saw in the Clone Wars a young Boba Fett working with some of the other bounty hunters in the Star Wars universe. So whether that would put him in connection with other Mandalorians at that time, in the sort of intervening years between where we see him in the Clone Wars and then in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Carl Urban would be a good addition to
Oh yes.
the Star Wars universe. I mean, technically he
Did a voice.
Might role.
Yeah, but
He was an armor.
Yeah.
In The Rise of Skywalker, he was in the credits. Just went back filming. But yeah, I mean, he's done a ton of my favorite franchises. The fact that he's Bones in Star Trek and Dread and Riddick. Star Wars. It just
He does fit well in the geek world, so yeah, it would be fun to see him.
Lord of the Rings as well, of course.
Yeah.
Shortland Street.
Yeah. It's always fun when actors you're a fan of turn up in a franchise you're a big fan of.
Well, I don't think we've seen Carl at an Armageddon as a guest yet. That's still yet to happen. But we did see him wandering around as a
just an attendee
at a Hamilton Armageddon once with his kids.
Yeah, you always sort of hold out hope particularly with this recent season of Armageddon, doing largely virtual, but having guests that live in New Zealand now.
Yeah. Are you guys fans of the Solo movie? I went in not expecting too much and was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, pretty much agree with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very fun romp that played the respective characters pretty well. I loved Mando.
I thought it had some fun twists. Like, it can't quite work out the way that the movie's going. With respects to Kira.
Yeah.
She's not around later. But yeah. I keep wanting there to be like more about Kira and Maul and all that. That would be fascinating. Even if they just give us the story in a book or something. I want to know more.
Cool
She was such a cool character.
Cool actors and actresses though.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson was pretty apt.
Yeah, he was playing very much the right sort of character for his casting. And I do really like Dryden Voss in that one.
Nice to have Sandy Newton involved.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there were some really cool sequences in that.
Really speculating that Boba was disguised as a Tusken at one point. I mean, it's a pretty believable disguise.
It does look like a rifle and gaffy stick on his back.
Yeah.
And wearing robes. That could be interesting.
And it fits, I mean, it's good cover if you want that sort of nomadic lifestyle. Just if you're searching for someone, if you're on some sort of mission, you can move around pretty anonymous around Tatooine.
Yeah. That would be a fun concept. I'm kind of curious if we'll see the Darksaber being used in combat.
Yeah.
Like, is that why they're going to bring in like Ahsoka? Because we need somebody with a similar weapon to go up against him?
Well, yeah. Otherwise, he's just going to maybe defeat some laser bolts if he's good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll necessarily be able to wield it in that way. Not getting in, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Or if we'll see potentially Bo-Katan retrieve it and maybe she uses it.
Yeah. It would be interesting if we actually see Mandalore. Like whether if they get the Darksaber and then they go like back to Mandalore or something like that. That could be kind of interesting.
So what are you saying? Do you think Boba was a Tusken Raider? So you think he might actually have been literally there
sitting alone
when the Tusken Raiders were all engaging with Mando and Cobb Vanth? That would be
secret spy.
So he was totally there the whole time.
Yeah. I feel like maybe they were trying to imply something with the gaffy stick on his back, hey?
Yeah. Well, it's not accidental.
Yeah, because if it's been 5 years, he's probably had the chance to acquire weapons. But the gaffy stick might be a deliberate choice and a deliberate nod to what he's been doing. It is just fun having finally the very sort of concrete, he didn't die in the Sarlacc pit. Or it was the old expanded universe that kind of had the stories of him getting out.
Yeah. Well, we've still got the Unleashed, that old Hasbro Unleashed figure.
Yeah.
Of him flying out of it. That's quite cool.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the cooler sculpts from that line.
So if we do expand on Boba Fett's current timeline story, we may well see flashbacks.
Yeah.
just to fill in that gap, because the audience kind of needs to know for that to make a little bit of sense. I mean, those of us who addicted at quite at the level we all are, sort of can know and accept it, but just for the wider general audience, if they don't fully explain how he got out of the
Yeah.
Sarlacc, it might confuse a few people.
Well, yeah, I feel like they're quite sensitive to the fact that that the Mandalorian is bringing in people that may not have watched other Star Wars,
this is the first
and
Star
so
Wars
they've
or
got to
something.
so they have to kind of they put in enough references and things like that long-time Star Wars fans appreciate, but you don't need to get to the references to follow the story if you've never seen it. Wayuru says, will Ahsoka's appearance in Mando be her redemption for what happened in the Clone Wars with the Jedi?
Yeah, I wonder how much development she'll get
Yeah.
in this series, to be honest. I mean, Bo-Katan was useful and she planted some seeds, but didn't necessarily get her character developed a lot beyond previous appearances.
Yeah, because
Ahsoka's got a bigger story to tell in some ways.
yeah, and
Anyways,
they know that because she is such a popular character, they'll have to like tread really carefully
well,
without making like.
they can also milk it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, she's had a significant presence in all of the series where they've like, with Rebels. It wasn't just a sort of we're bringing her back just to, for a sort of a cameo or something like that. She ended up having a significant role. And of course, people are doing a lot of speculation about whether Rex or a clone trooper,
Yeah.
one of the ones that we saw in Rebels that
There's a tiny
had
hint
survived.
that there's a tiny hint that Tim might play more than one character. I hope that's not too spoilery, but that's obviously speculative. That would be a cool twist as well.
Yeah.
If whenever Ahsoka shows up, if she happens to be with Rex, that would be insane.
They have kept their stories connected, particularly with the last season of the Clone Wars. But yeah, I'm dying to see how they bring her into the story. How long they'll tease that out. They know that everyone was like gonna go crazy when when her voice was spoken.
When her name was spoken, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That episode didn't hold back in terms of telegraphing where it was going.
Yeah. It wasn't like, there's a Jedi there, or there's, go find the Togruta. They're just like, nope, Ahsoka Tano, you all know it's coming.
Yeah.
We're just going to say her name.
Like that. Yeah.
Oh, look, there's bones over here. Old school crate dragon skeletons in SWTOR.
Showing up all over the place, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this one's on Hoth.
You think we could get a Vader flashback?
Yeah. I did enjoy the flashback to the Death Star being blown up. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that little reference.
Yeah, because we see the celebrations on Tatooine at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Special edition, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun seeing a more smaller moment from that. But
Yeah, that made sense. But I guess any flashbacks that just tie things together is plausible.
Yeah, because Ahsoka's always going to be connected to Anakin and Vader.
And they can keep it pretty brief, so they don't need to they don't need to force it into existing story. They can, flashbacks are a super useful tool to avoid too much, to make use of cool characters or cool events without shoehorning it too much.
Have you got a creature or species you're kind of hoping to see pop up? Because they've given us some cool ones, like the Mogcals and the Aqualish.
Yeah, creatures are always cool. And I love what we've seen so far. I thought seeing Ep4 was super cool.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, the sort of thing that like Star Wars fans will go, oh my gosh, and then everyone's like, oh, it's just a droid.
I've got an IG-88 collecting focus, as you know, so I thought IG-11 as a whole was pretty cool. I also like I'd love to see some beautiful droids, and FX7 never gets enough love. Hammerheads can't get enough.
Yeah, more hammerheads. I liked the I can never remember the name. The was it Kidit, the Primantis one?
Yeah,
that was fun. I can never remember the name properly. Gungans are pretty sis. That would be an interesting one.
It would be a challenge, a little, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't hate that.
That would be interesting.
I mean, you're obviously got an Ewok floating around there behind you, so I don't actually mind if they sort of throw in characters who break the molds of species, by travelling or leading slightly more interesting lives or whatever.
Yeah, one has to wonder how the cluster of Jawas got off-world. They must have built their sandcrawler off-world. Unless they somehow just
vaguely remember
whether they hitched a ride, they drove their sandcrawler into the cargo bays of some ship and hitched a ride to some planet. That'd be funny.
I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering it correctly, but I've got this vague notion of somewhere in the old EU about spacefaring Jawas. I've got this vague recollection. It might be the old West End games or something. These I can just vaguely see in my memory a picture of a space vehicle that is basically a sandcrawler with rocket pods out the back. Is Jar Jar still alive at this point in the continuity? They made reference to him in something recently, comics.
Oh, he was in the Lego thing. They made reference to his speech.
Yeah, they did that. They also, some other canon level material made reference to them, but it escapes me at this point, to be honest. Can't remember what timelines.
I guess it would depend on how old Gungans can be.
I don't think he hasn't straight up been killed or confirmed.
No. Not that I'm aware of. I'm not completely up to date with all the comics.
I've read most of the books, but yeah, the comics have just been almost a little overwhelming. I love reading comics. I mean, I grew up on the Marvel comics. I got all the old original Marvel comics, but I kept up with most of the Dark Horse ones, even when they became quite divergent with multiple parallel runs. But I've just struggled a little bit, to be honest, with volume and almost complexity of some of the Marvel comic runs. We'll eventually get there in terms of picking up trade paperbacks,
yeah,
out of the library, and
I find it easier to keep track of storylines in trade paperback form, or even just waiting till the run is finished and then getting a few of them all together.
see it. If we go back, once we go back to Tatooine, I mean, yeah, talking about Boba Fett flashbacks, will we see a Sarlacc again? That'll be kind of fun.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun if they actually show us how he got out in
Because
flashback
it was
form.
kind of fun. The Galaxy's Edge comics make reference to Sarlacc spores and baby Sarlaccs being transported around.
Yeah, because that's what I thought the
even-
crate dragon might have been. Like when it was moving underground, I was like, "Ooh, is this going to be like one like moving?"
Because at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, isn't
There's
there?
one, yeah.
Sarlacc
It's like a.
Did you see that, Freddie? Have you seen?
I think it's like a small one in a canister
tube?
somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
You got everything?
Yep. Let's do one more to finish
Yep.
off, and it might be time to wrap things up at that point.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed talking about things, and I appreciate having you guys in chat.
Yeah.
Bring out some interesting conversation points. I reckon we'll do this again next week.
Yeah. It's fun just.
Choose some different planets to run through in the background. I was worried if I would be able to play through these while trying to talk about unrelated topics at the same time. It doesn't be too bad.
No.
But seriously, right early on, I was thinking, I was on autopilot, just wondering if I was going to miss something obvious. But yeah, done these enough times that you can do it on autopilot.
Yeah. Oh, and it just feels like celebrating the Mandalorian, running around with our Mandalorian characters.
Miss that place, miss Disneyland, man.
It's
rough timing that this all hit. Not that long after Disneyland, after Galaxy's Edge
opened. Yeah, I mean, we were planning to go, along with the sadly cancelled Anaheim celebration, as I'm sure just about thousands of other people were planning to do the same. And it's kind of love Disneyland anyway, but we'd been super eager to go to Galaxy's Edge as soon as it was announced.
Oh, how does
So for it to be closed. Oh, the hotel looks so cool.
They showed a completed physical
room
version of the room, and so it's a 2-day, 2-night, fully immersive role-playing experience for.
Yeah, they revealed one of the hotel rooms
that they're still working on and still.
Yeah.
Planning to go live at some point.
Yeah, they've announced a few cancellations of projects and things like that, and some of the
on that hotel, it was too far underway.
Yeah, but there's even a few things like the Tron ride is being delayed. Like they're working on it, but it won't be open when they initially projected. I think they're just slowing a few things down, but it doesn't look like they're slowing down on the hotel.
It was freaking crazy that we got those Galaxy's Edge products at the warehouse.
Yeah.
Giving away, we've missed out on some cool stuff in the past. The way we've been getting, farmers, the freaking carbonized Boba Fett and carbonized Silver Stormtrooper are peg warmers at farmers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're scarce in other parts of the planet, and here we are in New Zealand with them
They're just sitting there. Yeah. That's so weird.
Yeah, so that comes in, what's his face? Black Series helmet variant. Kind of cool. But characters, interesting but not too high on my list of wants. There's been a couple of other bits of the Black Series Mandalorian helmet sticking out there
that's
that
cool.
implies it's got quite a good metallic finish. The Boba Fett helmet, Black Series Boba. Yes, there's a pop for the figures. Yeah,
it's getting up there. I mean, 40. It felt expensive when those figures were 40, and then it was nice when the warehouse brought them down to like 34. And
there's enough on the shelves, and they may come down. Boxing Day may resolve that problem.
Yeah, it feels a little bit cheeky to be upping the price by like 50% for the cardboard for in a lot of those cases. It's just
Hey,
the cardboard that's
Barry's just
special.
signed in. Nice one, guys. Enjoyed working and listening. Hey, Barry. Good to
Hey,
hear from you.
thanks for joining us.
So,
Our guild just leveled up.
okay, good timing, actually.
Yay.
So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode as well, Barry, and thanks for signing in and letting us know that you've been in the background.
Yeah, we've been trying to come up with ways to sort of
Spoilers in real time.
yeah, because we always, get really buzzed watching the show, and we're just talking between the two of us excitedly about all the references that we enjoyed and speculation and things like that, and then we're like, how can we do this in real time without, because it's really hard to just keep that stuff private in Facebook, no matter if just don't want it to show up in people's feeds, and this is kind of like a socially distant virtual hangout.
Well, yeah, everyone's gotten used to some sort of talent teleconferencing or the other. Yeah, anyway, hope you're well, Barry. And yeah, really appreciate you guys signing in and keeping that conversation ticking along. We'll sign out now. I think, what are we getting up to? 11:30?
Yep, that's just over an hour 45.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll definitely do this next week. And hopefully, I'm sure it'll be a good episode next week with lots to talk about.
Yeah.
As we get into the second half and hopefully a season finale that wraps things up and isn't too open-ended. Okay, so yeah, this will go up on YouTube as well, but if you happen to have Twitch accounts other than those of you guys that we can see in chat, feel free to subscribe to our channel, get notifications when we go live. But we'll make plenty of mention about a spoiler chat. You can watch the episode again, yeah.
Yeah, we probably will.
We'll make mention in the SWTOR Facebook group just to remind everyone that we're going to have a spoiler chat like this next week.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll sign up there. Thanks a lot. Catch you guys all later. We'll see you in the Facebook group.
Yep.
Over the coming week. Take it easy.
Thanks for coming, and may the force be with you.